Councillor Mubashar Chaudhry Sahab joins us from UK. He's human rights activist. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Allow me to go to Councillor Mubashar Chaudhry Sahab. Sir, your take on today's importance and how we can highlight it.
Thank you very much, first of all, having me. So basically, if you see, Shah Saab has explained we need to change our strategy, and Dr. Wakas actually explained what is the history. We all know the history now, and the important is the time has gone past, and we are doing something, but it's probably is not enough, and the world is not listening. The strategy change is very important. So these, if you see, like the Kashmiris living in Indian occupied Kashmir, every day is a black day for them, to be honest. Now, even when the Narendra Modi's government come, every Muslim, every minority is living in India has a black day. Every day is a black day for them. I would say this is so important. We need to look for how we move forward, how we need to address internationally this issue. So because when it comes to India, they say this is a bilateral issue, this is an issue of territory. We need to explain this is not the issue of the territory, it is the issue of humanity. The human rights violations are going there every passing day. So once we explain that in that scenario, the world will listen. I know when it comes to the government and when it comes to the establishment, they have their vested interests. So obviously, they do talk what they want to talk. But when it comes to the public, it is important we need to address it. And when that public actually vote their representatives and obviously speak to their representatives and human rights activists and the organization working in the United Nations, these are the key player actually to make a big difference. And I believe, obviously, the government is playing its part. But more important is all of our organizations needs to come together to work on one cause.
Councillor Chaudhry, since you are sitting there, and this argument, because it has been going on, even before August 5th decision, Indian decision, we saw that they were using pellet guns to blind children, blind protesters, and that went on for quite some time as well. Since then, we have been arguing, and this is one argument that we have been hearing, that we can sway democracies by sending the sights and sounds of victims that are Kashmiris. Unfortunately, we have seen so many pictures. A 6-year-old, a 12-year-old blinded totally and her face totally deformed. A little toddler sitting at the dead body of his own grandfather, and umpteen other such pictures and sounds. People know what India is doing in Kashmir. Why is it that that sway hasn't come, that we haven't been able to affect democracies the way it was supposed to be?
I think more important is like, yes, this is happening and this is what we are seeing. But media plays a bigger part, to be honest. Like a common person, when they see the BBC stories, CNN stories, and stories of the mainstream media, they always play a balanced role. They do not explain the way the situation is on the ground. And when Pakistan talks about, so they've been told, oh, because it's a party, that's why they are saying it. So that is one key reason. I believe, praise to PTV World. Obviously, we have one English channel, and these type of channels does make a big difference. When we talk about those issues in our local language channels, nobody listens, nobody understands it, because we know this is an issue. We understand, there is human right violation and all that. But international world, we need to tell them, and we need to tell them in their language. We need to tell them the way they want to listen, which is human right issue. It's not the bilateral issue. It's a human.
This one aspect that we saw, especially when it was time of Donald Trump, he was ruling the US, and at that time India decided to do away with Article 370 and 35A. At that time, one felt that there are limits to liberal world order and also to these institutions. Because when Donald Trump actually offers to mediate on Kashmir, he says that India will have to agree to it, and India doesn't. And amazingly, right now, Donald Trump is not in power, and India continues the way they do. The question right now is, are we actually asking the wrong guys? Because perhaps of the international order, how it actually is built, you cannot ask a sovereign country to concede if it doesn't want to actually agree with you.
For example, if you see the history will tell you the answer. When there was a League of Nations and the League of Nations failed to protect the basic right of the countries and the people, and what happened? The world has seen the worst world war. Is the same happening? The United Nations, whether they have they say it, but they cannot implement it. And that is the key reason I would say that the UN is failing to play its part. And basically, it's the powers. What suits them is what they do. As you mentioned, the colonialism is like if it suits them, it is fine. If it doesn't suit them, then it is a problem. Same is with Donald Trump or everybody. So at this point, if we need to understand what the international establishment is looking Kashmir as. So at this point, we know they have been defeated in Afghanistan. They know there is a bloc coming up in this region with China, Russia, Pakistan, and some other. They know they need to have in that territory how they can stay. Obviously, Pakistan is not helping them. So I believe in coming days, what they will try to work for an independent Kashmir. They might try to convince India to have some sort of settlement. It would be an independent, what it would theoretically be an independent. Effectively, it would be under India influence or whatever. So we need to understand these type of dynamics. Like when these leaders talks, they do not talk humanity. They do talk what they feel is good for them, is good to be powerful, and is good for their country to make it strong. So humanity is Lord behind really. So here's my answer. Means whatever they say,
Right.
it's
And
always does not what they mean.
it is an impressive answer, but when we are talking about these realities or perhaps these assumptions, I remember many premiers and presidents of Pakistan kept on talking about various options on Kashmir. But amazingly, while our side and the pundits on both sides actually kept on talking about various options, I haven't seen Indian government budge an inch from their stated position, and in fact, they have been moving their goalpost in their direction. I mean, 1948 they committed something else at the UN. Then Shimla Agreement, they've changed their tone. And later on also, they have been repeatedly changing their position. Now they claim it is their atut ang, their internal aspect, internal part. And that actually worries everybody because the rulers at this moment in India would love to have a war because they cannot handle economy. So how do you actually negotiate with someone who is not even rational actor?
If you see like the revocation of Article 370 and 35A, what is the purpose behind? The purpose behind is like they want to change the demographic. They want to have the settlement of Hindu extremists in that area. They want to have the powerful position be under Hindu extremist people, so that they can suppress Kashmiris. They want to change the demographic. Once they manage to change it, they can manipulate if it is a plebiscite, they can do whatever they can. They are following the way Israel is doing in Palestine. So considering that, yes, ultimately this particular government in India, they want the territory, and they really don't like any of the minorities. Doesn't matter whether it is Sikhs, doesn't matter whether it's Christian or Muslim. If you see, they have the RSS ideology, Hindutva ideology. So it means like India is for Hindus, is not a secular state anymore.
Yeah.
I believe, like, the good come from bad sometime. Having the Prime Minister Modi, I think they done such a damage. He done such a damage, and his government's done such a damage to the India. Nobody even dare to. Even their enemies never even be able to do it, because they have
Right.
destroyed the economy. The more important, they have destroyed the unity. Before that, everybody was saying, "This is our India." Muslims were saying, "This is our India." Hindus and Sikhs, everybody was saying it's our India. Now India is not, is Hindus' India. If you see, like, the latest example, when one of their player were Muslim, and they lost a cricket match, and how they acted.
Right.
So you
Right.
will see the, the good will come from the bad.
Yeah,
um,
you're,
but we
it
need
might
to
be so,
we
sir,
need to play our part.
to Councillor Chaudhry. So you must be listening to the discussion that is going on here. And the question at this moment is how to actually bring about as many disruptions as possible to ensure that there is some leeway for the Kashmiris on ground. I understand that I am talking to three Kashmiris. I'm not a Kashmiri, although my wife is, and we are as committed as anybody else. But the kind of sights and sounds that we have been seeing coming from Kashmir, Indian illegally occupied Kashmir and Jammu as well, are heart-rending. I cannot sleep at nights because of that. How to actually ensure that there is some kind of change, sir?
I think important is, like, we need to change something strategically. We need to have one think tank, and that think tank should have a different intellect from different sectors. That includes soft image dramas, as you talked about, and obviously social media experts and all of that. And doesn't matter whichever government come or whatever, so we know actually what we want to achieve, and obviously that needs to be working. International lobbying plays such a big role. When you obviously do that, that makes big difference. I praise to our previous president, Sardar Masood Khan. He done a tremendous. I worked a little bit with him, and I've seen him speaking to our MPs and Lord Mayors and all of them. Uh, the way he delivered the message should be the way that message should have been delivered. I expect from our barrister Sultan as well. He would probably do the same. I think our representative can play a bigger role. Our overseas diaspora who is living in different parts of the world, they can play a bigger role. And more important, as you mentioned, we need to have through our dramas, through our different channels, we need to send this message in a soft way, because important is, this is not a territory war. This is a war on human rights. This is what we need to tell the world. And when
Right.
we need to give the human right message, that always has to be in the soft language, and that always have to be impressive, and is something like which could touch anyone who loves humanity. And
Right.
we are living in this world. We know the people here, they love humanity. They even care about the animal rights. So human rights
Right.
are much more important. Is only the
Absolutely. And
government to mention.
Kashmiris have equal human rights as anybody else. I'm told that we have to conclude the program here. Sir, Councillor Mubashar Chaudhry, I'm going to take this as the overall conclusion of the program. Maybe I won't have my own conclusion either. But thank you very much for your precious time. Thank